So let's talk a little bit about multicultural. And first, let's level set. Let me say a couple of things. I cannot make one person in this room care about multicultural marketing. Can't do that. I can't make my husband put down the toilet seat, let alone make you guys care about multicultural marketing, even though we know there's a return on investment. We know there's a return on engagement. We know that word of mouth starts to buzz when you handle multicultural marketing, but I can't make you do something you don't want to do. Additionally, as content providers, I cannot make you want to create content for a multicultural audience, even though we know that today in the States, I'm from LA, in the States, Univision, which is the largest Spanish language network, sometimes beats, doesn't follow up, it beats its English language competitors. And we know that Fresh Off the Boat is one of the buzziest and hottest pieces of content out there right now. It's starting its second season and it's killing it. So we know the content's doing something, but I can't make you want to create it. And I finally cannot make you care about these audiences. I can't make you want to be authentic in your conversations with these audiences, and dare I even say, respect these audiences, because that's a big part of what they're looking for. But since I was invited here and these kind people bought me a ticket, I will spend the next few minutes talking about multicultural marketing, multicultural content, and connecting to those audiences because it is something I care about. So let's first talk about marketing. What if I said to you guys, there's a magic pill, and if you take this magic pill, instantly you will have more hair, maybe not this much, but it'll be impressive. Your waist will be slimmer. The eye, right, I needed it this morning, perfect vision, all of your ills, anything you want will be addressed with this magic pill. Would you want it? Show of hands, who wants a magic pill? We all want that magic pill. But let me ask you something, do you really think that magic pill is going to deliver everything it said it would? Probably not. Because all likelihood, we've learned there's not a one-stop shop for what you're looking for. When you think about marketing, you kind of have to think in that way, right? There's no one-stop shop. Even in multicultural marketing, there's different segments. And within those segments, there's different personas. So we really have to think about how are we going to speak to them. And I have two insights for you that are pretty universal. Again, there's not one-stop shop, but two universal insights. The first is, and it's something my grandfather would say to me all the time, he would say, Marissa, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Now, I know a lot. You probably have picked that up, right? I know a lot, but I do not know everything. Many of you know a lot, but you don't know everything. So let me ask you something, and you can just shout it out. When you don't know something, what do you do? If you don't have the answer to a question or you don't know something, what should you do? You should what? I'm deaf. I can't see, I'm deaf. I got arthritis in a knee, it's bad. What should you do? You should research, and you should find somebody who does. Get the expert, right? So one of the things I want to make sure you understand when you're talking about marketing, and especially multicultural marketing, is find somebody who does know. A lot of you don't know. You want to get in this space? Find somebody who does know. Now, let's qualify. Knowledge about, and I am going to walk out, so if I trip, it's on you guys. Knowledge about multicultural marketing does not mean you just downloaded Kanye West's new CD. No. Knowledge in multicultural marketing does not mean I have gone to the same sushi restaurant on a Thursday night for the last 4 years. No. And it absolutely doesn't mean, and this is the big kicker, I took Spanish in high school. Multicultural marketing doesn't mean any of those things, really. Multicultural marketing, as most marketing is research, facts, quantitative, qualitative, statistics. You've got to get dirty. You've really got to understand your audience. If you do that, if you don't do that, actually, let's talk about that. Guess what? They're going to smell it from a mile away. But if you do, minimally, you're going to get that engagement you want. You're going to get a response, right? Good, bad, ugly, and different. Someone's going to respond. Now, takes me to my next insight. Don't be scared, right? Don't be scared. And what that means is don't be afraid. You don't know what you don't know. So when you get there, you might not recognize what it is, right? So if you get someplace and you're on this path to reach this consumer and you hear of something you've never heard of, or you see something you never in your life would have seen, that doesn't make it wrong. That just makes it something that's for that audience and something that you should expose yourself to. And as I said, you're gonna have to forgive me. I do have something I wanna read because it's got numbers and I didn't get a chance to memorize them. So show of hands, who here has heard of Black Twitter? Now that's just sad, y'all. 3 people, come on now. Black Twitter. Let's talk a little bit about Black Twitter. Show of hands, who knows what Twitter is? Okay, thank you. I have to level set. Okay, good. So and I'm gonna read, Black Twitter is a cultural identity on the Twitter social network focused on issues of interest to the Black community, particularly in the United States. And it does sound serious, right? It sounds like I should be up here, Black Twitter, right? I wanna see fists raised, but what you have to understand is, according to a 2013 report by the Pew Research Center, 26% of African Americans who use the internet use Twitter. That's compared to 14% of online white, non-Hispanic Americans. And in addition, 11% of African American Twitter users say they're on Twitter at least once a day, compared to 3% of non-African American white users. This means if you're trying to reach that market, it's a destination you have to know about. So I'd like to play a little video about Black Twitter. Video 1.
Black Twitter. What is Black Twitter? I guess I should explain Black Twitter by first explaining what Black Twitter is not. Black Twitter is not a hashtag. Black Twitter is not a website. You can't go visit www.blacktwitter.com and find what you're looking for. Black Twitter is a group of individuals who come together to have conversations about everything from culture to race to identity. Yeah, that sounds like Twitter, right? Well, here's why Black Twitter is important. Black Twitter has sparked some incredibly important hashtags, like hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag If I Die in Police Custody. If you don't think that Black Twitter is a serious thing, I need to point to the example of First Lady Michelle Obama holding up a sign that said hashtag Bring Back Our Girls. But Black Twitter isn't just serious. There's lots of fun to be had. There's hashtag Growing Up Black, which absolutely nails the Black experience for a lot of people.
You know, because I'm telling you, Auntie Shirley, that, you know, my cataracts.
If a BET award show is gonna be on, you wanna be engaging in conversation with Black Twitter about it, because they're either praising people or they're dragging them. Sometimes Black Twitter can be both serious and funny at the same time. Jimmy Fallon, late night host, totally got in on it with the hashtag Oscars So White.
They're so white. Matthew McConaughey, take a look at all the nominees. He said, all white, all white, all white.
Hashtag Oscars So White began to have a very serious conversation about diversity in the Academy Awards. It also gave folks an opportunity to poke a little bit of fun, create some memes.
You're upset, you're confused, and you're just as surprised as I am that the Academy President is indeed Black.
Who says that you have to be serious all the time? You're probably gonna be hearing a lot more about Black Twitter because it continues to rise in popularity and power. But some people are hoping that at some point, we won't even have to call it Black Twitter anymore. It'll just simply be what it is, Twitter.
All right, so marketing to multicultural audiences, it's not rocket science. There is one little misstep I do want to cue you guys to, and that is just because someone is of an audience does not make them an expert in that audience. So again, I explained to you, if you don't know what you don't know, that's what my grandfather told you, but just because someone looks like someone you want to reach or sounds like someone you want to reach, that does not mean they are an expert in those someones that you want to reach. So I just want to make sure you remember that. So multicultural marketing, very much like general marketing, not rocket science, it's just smart marketing. I want to talk about content. I want to talk about multicultural content, content that's targeted to a multicultural audience. The good news is, so we're not here that much longer, basically the same thing, right? You want to be credible, you want to be authentic, you want to speak to them with respect. I think that's the biggest key. Now, having said that, there is one very, very, very sinister word in content creation when you're looking to speak to the multicultural audience. And that word is stereotypes. You do not want to play in the world of stereotype. It's a fine line, but you don't want to play it. You don't want to cross it. You have to make sure, and it really goes back to, you're gonna hear me say it over and over and over again, authenticity, truth, understanding what you wanna say, right? Being grounded in your message, your brand, your content, and then finding that very, very real connection between what you wanna say and that audience you wanna reach. I'm very proud of a project I've worked on for about 5 years on behalf of my Clorox client, and it's called Entre Amigas, and what that means is between girlfriends in español. ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Hablas español? Ah, qué lástima. So, it means between girlfriends. It airs on Univision, which is the highest rated Spanish language network in the States, but Clorox is a cleaning product. So in our cleaning conversations, we want to be very authentic, and we don't want to hit stereotypes reaching out to a Hispanic audience. And I have to tell you, I'm very proud of the fact that we have not. We rooted it in the research. We understood the audience, and I'll give you a little secret. Cleaning is pretty universal. Black, white, purple, or polka dot, it's a pretty universal thing. And that's how we approached it. And because of that, I can tell you that for 5 years, one, we have grown in ratings every year, unheard of. I don't mean we hit a plateau and we stayed there. No, we grow every year. Two, we created a new trending brand. Entre Amigas is now a brand against our audience. Did not exist when I created it or we created it, no, I and team, 5 years ago. Now it trends. And finally, and I hear a lot of you as creators talking about that magic green word money, it shows that it increases sales for Clorox. We can point to this content as a path to sales. That's fantastic. That's the holy grail. That's what everyone wants. So I would like for you all to share in Entre Amigas with me. That's my second clip.
Ya estamos de regreso, pero yo quiero saber antes que nada cómo se le está pasando al público. ¿Están contentas con sus regalos? Sí. Eso, muy bien. Bueno, pues quisiéramos agradecer a nuestros colaboradores de la empresa de Clorox por este programa tan especial, que no solo nos une como mamás regalándonos experiencias de vida a través de estas grandes mujeres que tenemos aquí enfrente, que les agradecemos que hayan estado aquí, pero sobre todo ustedes también, al público, disfruten de su regalo. Y ustedes en casita, si quieren conocer más, visiten bienvenidavida.com.
Now, since a lot of you don't speak Spanish, I'm going to assume you're not watching Univision. What you may not have picked up in this clip is, this is a show very much like The View, where a group of women in this audience and in this target get together and they talk about things that are very meaningful to them. But we were able to also connect back to universal themes, a la cleaning, and point out Clorox as a sponsor was so happy to be able to bring these women together, not just for them to be together in a room, which they loved, but for the audience to get this. This was a once-in-a-lifetime experience for our audience. We were the highest rated primetime special, not including sports, we were beat by soccer, but on Univision this year. And it's the 3rd year in a row we were. So that says something. That says we're authentic. That says we're reaching the masses. And again, the holy grail, we're selling Clorox products. So we talk about storytelling, multicultural content. We talk about authenticity. And we talk about making sure you're walking that fine line of stereotypes. I want to share one more piece of content that actually walks a very fine line between truth and stereotype. It's Empire. Show of hands, anybody heard of Empire? Yes. So you know what I mean. It walks that fine line, but it doesn't cross it. Why? Because it's rooted in truth. And because of that, it was the hottest thing on television in the States and arguably around the globe last year. So I'd like to show you a piece of content, Empire.
Never stopped loving you. I tried. Never went away.
You miss me.
You always were a ride or die. Always.
Our first order of business is removing Lucius Lyon as CEO.
He needs to be handled.
In 24 hours, we will have our company.
I'm going to
gonna bury your album, Hakeem.
I'm gonna be bigger than you'll ever be. Bigger than Dad, too.
Lucius Lyon is empire. Without him, the company is nothing.
We can be a family again.
Game over.
So let me just ask you something as we wrap up content and multicultural. Show of hands, how many of you think all black men belong in prison? How many of you think black men can only make a living as a rapper? How many of you think black women are hoochies and have to wear skin-tight outfits? But what's key is when people watch Empire, you don't think of any of those things. We know this. We've asked the question, and it's true. You all raised your hands. You all watch the show. You watch it because it's great content. You watch it because it engages you. You watch it because it comes from a point of truth, not because you want to sit there and tell your friend, you know all black people belong in jail. That's why I watch this. I love to see them in jail. That's not the case. It avoids the stereotype. It walks a fine line, but it avoids it because it comes from a sense of truth. And no matter what content you're creating, you have to always remember that, come from a sense of truth. So, in closing, and again, forgive me, I'm going to read this because it's very important, I think. To continue from that, you just have to speak to your audience with respect in a way that confirms you realize they're unique as individuals and they're not stereotypes. You're going to focus on the values and the scenarios that lend authenticity, right? So even if that means you're putting your lead character in jail, don't play into black men in jail stereotype, play into that's the storyline, and that's how we move it forward. It's about the facts. It's all about the facts, not the base. It's the facts, right? You've got to know what you're talking about. You don't know what you don't know, but know what you do. And if you don't, go find somebody to help you, all right? Understand the facts. Even though you're content creators, and many of us think of ourselves as creatives, it is key that you understand quantitative, qualitative research. And finally, I want you to be selfish. All right? Even though I've talked about all sorts of other audiences, don't do this because you feel like you have to. Do it because you love your brands. Do it because you love your content. Do it because you think reaching this audience and exposing them, this brand, this content that you birthed, your baby, is important. Everybody thinks their baby is the cutest in the world. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. But hey, take your baby out there, let it shine. Be proud of it, and build a meaningful connection to the audience you want to reach. And I think everybody will end up much better for it. So thank you so much for having me. Questions, anybody? Oh, yes.
So for multicultural content, kind of in the internet world, is there, like, say, we're talking about multicultural, maybe different languages, different cultures. Is there a place for that, or is internet sort of like television, what you expect, that it's very hard to sell content which is multicultural?
So I would say a couple of things, if I'm understanding, and if I'm not, say, you don't know what I'm talking about. So I think first you're saying, traditionally in television, it's hard to sell multicultural content. You are right traditionally, but if the most prevalent color in the conversation of multicultural is what? Everybody in the room knows it. What is the most prevalent color in the conversation that is multicultural? It would be green. Green is the most prevalent color. And right now you've got shows like Empire, shows like Fresh Off the Boat that are commanding some of the highest dollar rates, the highest CPMs, the highest unit rates that networks have seen in a long time. And with the erosion that is television, it makes them very, very happy. So now is actually a really, really good time to want to tell a story about an audience, to an audience, about an audience that is multicultural. Having said that, the internet and the digital world has always embraced multiculturalism because it's a global village, right? So that's where you find opportunities. That's where you can really build your audience. It's really about knowing how to get the story out there, how to break through the clutter. And that's where that art and science comes in, the marketing of your content, the passion behind your content. And I tell people this all the time. I see 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 people a day. We are a $1 billion company. Everyone wants a piece of our budgets. It's the passion that sells your project. And we just had folks here talking about that as well. So if you're passionate about it, if you've got a great story to tell, now is your time.
Any more questions?
Thank you. Oh.
First of all, great job, Marissa. Thank you. So I'm curious, right now you've got your own division, if you will. They set aside multicultural marketing, but we're seeing that multicultural is becoming mainstream. So what does that mean for you in the kind of the vertical, if you will, of marketers? Do they bring you into the mainstream, or do they shunt you aside and say, we got it now?
It's really interesting you say that. I'm going to touch on 2 or 3 really key topics. The first is we are going to become a minority-majority world. In many places, that is already your reality, a minority-majority. So understanding how to speak that language while you navigate the rest of the world, boy, that's a wonderful attribute and expertise to have. So I tell people all the time, I kind of speak a bunch of different languages, right? I'm fluent in so many different languages. And even in the real world, when you know someone who's fluent in multiple languages, they tend to do better in life, right? There's different places they can go, there's more places they can go, and there's more people they can reach. So I would say, 1, it's fantastic for myself and for you guys. I encourage all of you. I'm passionate about it, and you should get passionate about it too, to get in this space. There's not a lot of people who speak this language, so for you to join that would be fantastic. The other thing I would say, though, is total market is a big buzzword now. And what total market means is it means I don't have to speak to this audience uniquely because I'm going to capture them with the conversation I'm having to this total market, to everyone. So before I might have $5, and that's going to be general market, but I'm going to do $2 over here for African Americans. Well, now that I'm total market, I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'll spend $6 and get everybody. But what's kind of coming into focus with that conversation, and while total market makes a lot of sense in terms of efficiencies, there's a pushback in terms of authenticity. So imagine a scale, if you will, of efficiency, which we all want. I don't have any money to waste, and certainly I would never waste my clients, with authenticity, because you could get burned. So again, it goes back to the first thing I said was, if you can speak both of these languages and you know how to balance it so it's not like that, it's going to be fantastic. Does that help?
Thank you so much,
Thank
Marissa.
you guys.
That was
Thank
very
you.
insightful.